All right, well, Bass, I think this makes a first. You've never been on my stream before. I don't think I've ever had you on here.
I don't think so. No, not as far as I'm aware. But if you look at the trends of the weekend, Elevate, in my opinion, underperforming to what they were supposed to be, and Limitless, even in series where they didn't look good, playing to the level of their opponents. I think this is going to be a lot more close than people are expecting. I still have Elevate coming out on top, but I definitely see a world where Limitless gives them an actual fight.
All right, well, that fight is underway, and in case you missed it, Limitless in blue, Elevate in orange. And the shot was being lined up and then removed, so no action there, and a little bit of action here for Limitless if they can bring it around. But I'm enjoying the opening 30 seconds, Bass.
Yeah, I'm enjoying what we're seeing so far. I definitely do feel like with both teams recognizing that this is a show match, not a plan match, we're going to see riskier plays. We're going to see more aggressive plays. We're going to see fakes that do not turn into shots there. Unfortunate, as I was hoping the fakes from Kevin would lead to something from his two teammates, but instead, offense continues out of midfield. The pressure builds. For a minute of play so far, as much as I'm saying that Limitless do have a shot here to keep it competitive, they need to get out of their half first.
Yeah, okay. Well, where are we now? First minute, so no early action. Limitless, though, that wasn't a great touch from Sweaty, and he kind of got his team into a world of hurt, and LCT is going to jump on that and get the opening goal.
Big thing I will mention for many of the fans here who are maybe more familiar to SSA rather than APAC, APAC is one of the most aggressive and I would say offensive-heavy regions out of all of the regions within RLCS. I can't necessarily speak to if SSA is similar, as I have seen a decent amount of SSA, but in this season I have obviously more focused on APAC, who have, somewhat changed those trends, but if you make mistakes like that on your defense, they're going to always have a player diving.
All right, well, that aggressive play paying off for them right now, and more defensive work. And Snowy now. That was kind of interesting, but he fortunately had a teammate there to help clean it up. And now they got something in attack. Snowy trying to get in front. Sweaty's up, but it is going to be blocked away. So no action for Limitless yet, but surely now it's a goal. What a play, what a fake, and we're leveled up.
And this is where you can catch them off guard. Like I said, defense not usually a priority. It's still going to be just as aggressive as the offense. So if you see a diving LCT, why not throw in a little bit of a stutter step? That's a great goal from Snowy, and it really goes to show what I'm talking about here. If Elevate are having a weekend where offense is the only thing they are focusing on, take advantage of their lackluster defense.
All right, and yeah, well, all of those who are new to my stream, you are guaranteed to have technical issues, and for the first opening 2 minutes, there was no overlay. The overlay is now up, and you can see everything.
Love to hear that, and we would love if maybe we get a second goal here. Well, I'd say at least I would like to a little bit.
You'd love it a lot more than me, but Limitless may get one. Lining it up, but dispossessed. And the attack quickly being broken down, but still possession to die for. What a play off the corner into the net.
Good read here, and also heads-up play as well. Recognizing the two players in the backboard, you have to bait out Sphinx. There's no way you're getting past him, and, well, the only way you're really getting past Kevin is with a shot like that. Again, Limitless really taking advantage of a disorganized defense so far.
All right, well, here we are, Limitless with the lead for the first time, but half the game to go, and you suspect there's a lot more drama to come.
I don't think we're anywhere close to the end of this series, nor the end of this game, if I'm being honest, and Sphinx might just show us why. Great save out of Snowy. Offense continues. Kevin triple tap, trying to set up one of his two teammates, and does it feel like for you right now, there's a bit of an adjustment from the major where I feel like both these teams are expecting like high-flying action, and when they see they have a little bit of room, it just takes them by surprise?
All right, well, on his own there to die for, just trying to keep it up in the midfield. Sweaty goes up. It does well to get there, and the ball spending most of its time, the last 15, 20 seconds in the midfield, but now it goes over to the Elevate side. But Snowy can't make anything. He's being manhandled as Elevate come forward in force. But shut out by Sweaty.
I'm in space in the backboard for Kevin here. What can he cook up? Down by one with about 100 seconds remaining. At this point, Elevate need to find a way to get past that midfield that, like you said, isn't really giving them many options. Maybe a solo play from LCT. pass it out, hoping to get it to one of his two teammates, but no avail. As again, midfield presence here from Limitless just aren't really giving many options to elevate in pretty much any capacity, whether it be offense or defense.
All right, well, here's more of that Limitless offense. I think they've got a little ahead of to die for. Oh, it's been set up and Snowy will finish. A 2-goal lead for Limitless.
This is really well played out of Limitless, and especially once you see LCT trying to pre-jump you on the ceiling, throw it to the backboard where maybe he could collide with his teammate. Doesn't exactly get the physicality against his own two, but does that do enough to at least disrupt the opposition. And at this point, Limitless comfortable here in game number 1 with a minute to go. I'm not really expecting much of a change out of Elevate here, as again, midfield been a huge problem for them so far.
All right, and the last, a good 60 seconds or so being dominated by Limitless in terms of possession. But that demo is going to open things right up. There's an open net to die for. Can't get back, and LCT, very aggressive play. The demo opening up that entire field, and we're within 1.
Clever at LCT here as well to try and take time on the ball there. He knows that there's going to be at least one defender that's going to spawn back, and he knows another defender can swing through. If he can take enough time to make it to where the defender spawns, the other one's already swinging, and neither one of them really know who's there to commit, it's going to be a lot easier for him to get past the defense. And again, this is what you have to do when you're playing against an offense that is so aggressive. You have to dive, you have to get in their face, you have to take those risky plays, and with LCT knowing that, taking advantage of them. Not enough though, with a 3-2 score line and only 30 seconds left. Elevate need to do something a little bit more. Offense here good for them. Can they hold on to it?
Well, with just 20 seconds to go, my money, I still have a fair amount of money on an overtime as the most likely result. And I just feel like a late goal maybe coming up. And here we go. Sphinx trying to go the distance. He's in the air, and the equalizing goal, 9 seconds from time.
I want to act like I'm shocked. I know you do as well, but neither one of us really expected anything else. Sphinx had not shown himself his abilities throughout this game. He finally gets one solo play, a little bit of room to breathe, and, well, we are 9 seconds away from overtime.
All right, well, there's still time for the upset. Limitless trying to make that happen. What a 50 from LCT. Trying to make go forward. It has now run out of time, so there it is. Game 1, overtime.
Like we said, didn't expect it to go down any other way. The real question is, though, who's going to clutch up here in the first? It could be Elevate, a little bit of defensive mishap, or Limitless. I think they're lucky stars. They did not give up a goal immediately, as that would have basically been an interruption to my entire point, which was the two teams playing really well so far here, Gravy.
Oh, listen, this is fantastic entertainment. Exactly what we want to see. Limitless will finish it off to die for, and Limitless take game 1.
All right, well, as soon as I say they're playing well, and LCT misses one off the backboard, Sphinx a little too aggressive, pushes up past the back post, and nobody prepared to block that shot to die for. Going to give Limitless a win here in game 1, in which was, I'd say, highs and lows of this game, mountaintops and valleys, if you will, as we did have a couple of pretty sloppy plays on either end, and a lot of the goals we saw were punishment upon said sloppy play.
All right, well, we're going to move on here to game 2. And I think we'll make our way to DFH. I think is always a good one for to be in the map rotation. So I think, yeah. So I mean, it feels at this stage that it might be a bit of a disappointment if it doesn't go the distance. These two teams feel very equal at this point.
They feel very equal, but I also don't feel like we've seen the full capacity of either one of the teams. So while in their current form, I can see us going to 7, I want to see if either one of these teams can take some momentum after game number 1, whether it be Limitless, take the confidence from game 1, or maybe Elevate, try and realize that they can't keep playing like this if they want to succeed. Already, it seems like they're turning up, though. 3-man passing play almost opens us up in the second.
All right, Sweaty gets past one. Sphinx coming in the corner. He's not going to be bypassed there with the ball, but it's going to get picked up by to die for and instantly dunked and back into that midfield, but a tug of war with Limitless pushing slightly forward for the time being. Oh, to die for gets a bump, but it means he loses out on the ball, and there's a bit of a scramble for it right now, but possession now with Elevate. LCT gets it there or thereabouts. Sphinx now with the shot, and it might just break down.
Looks like the offense, though, chugging along as if it were, as about 50 seconds in, and it has been all Elevate. But this is how the last game started as well. And then as Elevate started to get more and more frustrated with the lack of goals being shown from their offense, the defense started to crumble a little bit. Over-aggressive touches, midfield that started to shut them down. Limitless, definitely proving they've kept their nerves after a win in game number 1. The question is whether or not Elevate can find a way to actually get around this midfield, or even get around Sweaty and Snowy. 2 uninterrupted touches in a row has me a bit surprised.
All right, well, we've now had a good 90 seconds coming up here without a goal. The tug of war continues. Sphinx with a great intercept there, trying to look for a mate. He gets it, gets the shot, but to die for, who is often overlooked with all his mechanical prowess, is overlooked in terms of how effective and important he is in defense. The double commit not going to help Limitless. They are under pressure now. Sweaty, though, will break that, and they'll have something set up here, and Kevin having to do important work in defense.
Ooh, good fake out as well. Elevate, no players are going to be jumping, and they're trying to open some space to work with. But he's not going to give them almost any off the backboard, though. Great dribble out to midfield. 2 teammates not prepared off the touch off the sidewall, and neither is Elevate. Again, we talked about a midfield contentious in game 1, similar in game 2, but now it really is the mind games. Both teams kind of going, no, you go for the ball, no, you go for the ball, and neither one of them actually goes for it, leading to a lot of open space and leading to a 0-0 halfway point, or maybe Sweaty can change that up. A 50 from Sphinx, though, crucial to the defense.
Yeah, stood firm and proud there, and now they're struggling to transition all the way. They get these great clears, and that second follow-up is pretty good, but it doesn't really lead to anything in terms of sustained pressure on the Limitless side, but it is keeping the stalemate firmly in place.
Buddy, trying to get something started for Limitless here. Oh, and Snowy trying to avoid touches like that. Breakaway happening. Save made by To Die For. For a second there, Limitless is a bit terrified. They gave up a pretty sloppy touch, and it almost led into a full counterattack. Instead, it still does lead to even more offense out of Elevate. Demo, though, just disrupt them for a half a second. LCT gets it to the backboard, and it's no further. Limitless prepared on defense here. We've got 2 minutes to go, and still scoreless on either end. If not for the 1-2 passing play through center.
Man, oh man, and I was just a comment in my mind thinking about the fact that Elevated finally managed to push back Limitless and were building pressure of their own, and then the instant counter, as you point out, the 1-2, boom, Limitless in front.
At this point, I'm thinking we got to see more than just a switch up from Elevate. We got to find a way for them to shut down their opponents if they want to even keep this competitive. It's not as if the scorelines have been overwhelmingly in favor of Limitless, but it's definitely been a less mistake-ridden type of gameplay here, as it's just been a bit too all over the place. Again, we see this over-aggression. They need to get a goal here. It's open, and it's in. A single demo completely tears down Limitless and tears up the game.
And you were just talking about the over-aggression, but there we saw the perfect amount of aggression. And it's quite something to see an opposing team being the only players in the opponent's half for a moment there before that goal was scored.
You don't see that every day, unless you watch a lot of APAC. I'm not going to lie, we do see that a lot. The full send attitude, as I like to call it from players like this, is nothing I want to, I don't want to shy them away from it. I don't want to say that they shouldn't do it, but it is one of these things where if you're playing a gameplay that is a little bit sloppy, if you aren't as precise on your rotations, it will come back to bite you, and that's why you're starting to see plays like this. Kevin waiting on his challenge, trying to buy time, and I thought he bought enough, but apparently not.
All right, Sweaty, yeah, Kevin jumped in sort of full commit there, and maybe a little early, a little rash, leaving his team stranded with no one at the back.
Gotta be careful. Again, full send attitude works if it, works. If it doesn't work, it quite literally collapses down everything you build towards. Rotationally, individually, it's just not going to be enough unless you are hitting those touches. And with 50 seconds to go, you do not want to go down 2-0 in a series in which you guys have had many chances. Another one here, LCT 50-50 and double commit. Get this center and there could be a shot. There will not be. LCT staying around the ball, and again, Kevin starting to get a little bit trigger shy. He does not want to overcommit again.
I wonder if that play style, if it's perfected, can become quite OP. But it seems the margin for error is so tiny, so razor thin, that you wonder if it is a play style that can be perfected.
mean, it can be perfected. The issue is that if it's not currently being perfected, you need a backup plan. Backup plan right now is not working, even with the extra space out at midfield and them trying to get something started. It hasn't been enough, but what about at the 0 seconds? Nope, not that either. Limitless, gonna clutch it up.
So, it's probably worth mentioning that every series today has started this way, where a team has taken the first game, the first 2 games, and then there's been a bit of chaos. So it's kind of matching the pattern that we've seen all day today.
I mean, it's not surprising to see these two teams playing a little bit more, I'd say, sloppy to start this one up. It's been a long week of Rocket League. I'm not exactly surprised to see them having, a little bit of an adjustment period here. The only thing I am surprised by is that, does it feel like we're seeing the same plays over and over again? It feels like this game 2 was not as separated from game 1 as we initially anticipated. The first minute or 2 was a different midfield play, was a little bit more of a back and forth, but then as the game went on, it felt like Elevate kind of regressed into the same play style as game 1, and Limitless went, okay, cool, we'll do the same thing we did in the first game as well.
Yeah, I think, and especially after that first goal was scored, and then it became... there was a greater sense of urgency in the desire to rush and move everybody forward.
Gotta see a change. And I think you and I can both agree on that. Not necessarily because we don't want to see Limitless keep on winning, but we want to see a good series. I want a back and forth here. I want Elevate to not just get this floor wiped with them. It's not a fun way to walk away from Copenhagen. But I also wouldn't be surprised. Limitless playing some phenomenal Rocket League so far, punishing on every play. The question is, can they send themselves on the game point, or excuse me, series point here as we start the third?
All right, well, early possession, although Sphinx has missed there, might break that down, although LCT is going to come forward after to die for. It's manhandled out of the corner, but they can't just bring that round over the goal line into the net, but their pressure continues. And now we've seen them do this a lot, where they've come forward, they're building their pressure. As you said, the send everybody mentality there, but they just haven't made it work for them yet.
I don't know if this is an idiom or a phrase that you guys are aware of in South Africa, but the way that I love to describe this is send the baby and the bathwater is the best way to describe it, at least for me, as that truly is what we're seeing here. They will send the entirety of what they have at their resources, and then somehow you will still see a third player dive in. No necessary third player here for Limitless. Yeah, now I'm starting to see Limitless don't need this full send attitude. They can just rip shots on target.
Yeah, I think, Limitless's success here in SSA has been, for a long time, is they like to build sustained pressure. They just want to keep going at you and break down the opposition through relentless pressure, and it's a play style which works phenomenally here, but they have struggled with it with higher level teams that are more adept to dealing with it. But there we go, and we see Elevate with goal number 1 in game 3.
I gotta wonder, I think this is Elevate's first lead of the series. It took them a little while to get there, over 10 minutes of play, and it takes a shot like that, sniping it into the left corner. So that's going to be what it takes here, Graybeard. I'm not necessarily thinking that Elevate has figured everything out, but at least they're capable of hitting shots like that now.
I seem to think, didn't they score first in game 1, or am I misremembering that?
They might have been able to, but if it was, maybe. I think it was a quick back and forth.
Yes.
I know, again, we ended that game at 3-3, so it's one of those things where there was 100% a world where that could have gone either way.
All right, well, Limitless off the ceiling, and that didn't go as planned, and now it's resulted in a little bit of a scramble, and Limitless having to track back as quickly as they can to reassemble their defense, which they've done very well. Snowy almost gets it by, but not to be, as it makes its way back as quickly as it made its way there.
At a time here in the corner for Kevin to work with. He'll pop it up high, and Sphinx getting bumps in net means LCT just needed to put it on target. Sphinx didn't just bump one player, he bumped both of the retreating players there for Limitless, and apparently it still wasn't quite enough. This is what we've talked about. The full send attitude has to be perfect. Otherwise, this is what happens to mistakes.
And, yeah.
Hey.
And it's not even necessarily the result of someone who saw the open net long distance and was like, okay, we're gonna make it. It's that weird kind of touch over on the one side, and because you've got no one back, you're helpless to do anything about it.
gotta hurt. It's one of these things where, again, I feel like it's what I like to call hero mentality. It's, okay, the rest of the team has now had their attempt at the ball. The rest of the team has now had their try to get a goal. They haven't done it, so I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to be the one to make the difference. And we've seen that a couple of different times out of Elevate players. Their two teammates go up. A 1-2 passing play is not enough to get past the defense. So the third full sends it from midfield, dives in with reckless abandonment. And if it works out, it usually gives them a goal. If it doesn't work out, it's almost immediately a counter-attack. They need to be careful. Elevate have had so many chances to keep the series within arm's reach and have let it get away from them every single time. And they might again pass down, though, not on target.
Yeah, and I think it's a very important point you make there, because these haven't been massive goal difference games at all. They've been really, really close. So it's kind of they're just missing out. So you almost think if they can keep it together just a little bit longer and not quite overcommit, they're in this all the time.
It's such a series that, again, I want to see both teams playing to the best of their abilities, but as much as I am a big APAC fan and will try and, pump them up as much as I can, I will also be truthful about the way we've seen the two teams play this weekend. Limitless has been a surprise to every team we've seen them play. They've been competitive. They've been so solid with shots like that! And an Elevate who've struggled on defense, here's a great example.
Man, the angle on this, and it's no wonder that To Die For, in even at LAN, when the stats come out, To Die For will feature relatively high in a number of those categories. And man, has such an ability to find those sorts of plays.
It's really nice for me as a person. Again, I was kind of the, Captain Planet, if you will, the guy who was supporting all regions that I could when we first had the initial sort of expansion of RLCS in 2021. I was on that first SSA broadcast with you. I know you remember that one, Graybeard, all the way back with that, what was it, seasonal shootout production team?
Yeah.
Way back when. And I remember seeing all of these players there as well. It's wild to see the same guys who are on top are still the same guys on top now, including an LCT who's been around the block more than I can count.
Yeah, well, he's been around the block, and the block's getting a lot bigger. And there we go. They've leveled it. They've leveled it up 2-2, coming to the end. Overtime looming. We've seen one of them all the way back in game one, and now you feel this is where Elevate want to keep their heads about them. Like, don't chuck it away here in the dying moments.
They need to be careful about that third man. Every time they have conceded a goal, it's been from a third man over aggression. This time, it's just from a miss on the line.
Snowy with a 50 close there, and it bounces out nicely. And Sphinx got up. He got a touch on it, but couldn't tip it over the bar.
That one might come back to haunt Elevate, not only because of the fact that now they've got 20 seconds to try and tie this one up, but also if they lose this game, that's 3-0. Limitless will have 4 games to try and just get one more win. The show match will be theirs. Like we said, Elevate have been so close to perfection, but every time they need to clutch up, it is slipped away from their grasp, and even when they have a chance at a closing shot, it goes off target. Snowy just trying to keep this down. Sphinx will not let him. Kevin, one last Hail Mary. LCT there, off the backboard, drop down, Sweaty clears it out. And I don't think anybody's getting back to this one. No, indeed, Limitless, a 3-0 lead.
Man, oh man, oh man. And it's one of those series, you're sitting here with 3-0 and you go, okay, so Limitless have walked all over them, but I mean, the games have been close. And we saw there was, we were 30 seconds away from another overtime, but just not to be.
Graybeard, I'm going to be real. At this point, as the APAC representative here, I feel like I'm getting, not embarrassed, I don't know if that's the correct word, but I'm getting to the point where I'd like to have more to represent. I feel like Elevate just haven't been able to play up to the level that I know they're capable of. This is such a good team. This is something I've talked about a couple of times before. Part of the reason this Elevate squad even exists is because I had a conversation with the owner of Elevate who said, hey, I want to stay in APAC. I want to sign a good team. I want a team that is all APAC representatives. And I sold on the legend that is Sphinx, Kevin, and LCT, a team on the way up. I knew what they were capable of. They proved it in the first split, beating a team with international players, beating the #1 seed in Gladiators. Now here at LAN, I have had many questions. I know they're better than this. I've seen them play better than this. I need them now to actually play better than this.
Do you think it's a function of what you were talking about at the start, where given the fact that it's a show match, They are. That full send mentality is a little bit more on full than it might ordinarily have been. I mean, is that a factor, or are you seeing that this sort of play was present throughout the land from what you saw?
It's a little bit of both. I think part of it is the full send attitude, them trying to really, I think stunt here is the best word that I can use. But I also do agree. I think it's just one of these things. It's emblematic of the land that they have just played. Their offense was so good throughout it. In the games that they even won, you saw the score line rampant in their favor due to an over-aggression of goals. In the games that they lost, they tended to give up goals for silly reasons. Defensive goals, a thing that has plagued them throughout the week, and it plagues them here on Saturday.
All right, well, it is Limitless going up front first in this game, unlike the last game. But whether they've gone up first, second, or otherwise, it is Limitless that have found themselves in front at the end of the game. That was kind of an interesting kickoff. Not quite sure what exactly the plan was there, but it is Limitless that have the possession after that and trying to get it forward, but they haven't really gotten over the halfway line since the kickoff. And Elevate, you sense, might have an opportunity here if they can keep possession and get it forward, but they're being undone and being a little bit taken apart at the back.
Sweaty's doing everything right now. I think he got around all three players, and the only reason they didn't score a goal there is because he had to get around a player that had already approached him. Yeah, he's kind of popping off right now. Individual skill from To Die For and the rest of Limitless showing itself, and that's why I think we're also starting to see the demos here. Look, if you can't beat them, delete them. Get them off the line, get them out the way. If you're not been able to get past the defense thus far, do something different. Elevate trying to, and also trying not to give up a second goal.
Yeah, that was a great little build-up play from Limitless. The passing 1-2 across the field. Just passed a little bit too close to the goal line in front. They couldn't get the pass. It was easily blocked there. To Die For. Bringing it forward. It's heading toward the net. That is going to go wide, but it is awkward once again for Elevate. It is only a goal, so they can bring it back if they kind of keep their heads about it. This heading toward the net. Sweaty, who you said was doing everything, can't finish it with a goal there.
Does back off, though. He sees the play transition and knows that his other teammate's going to dive up. So now he's got to do something on defense. And he does. 2 50s in a row and an air dribble out to midfield. Give me a flip reset. Never mind. Give me the bump. Literally beating, I think, 3 players in one play again.
All right, well, here we go. Elevate with only 2 players over the halfway line now. So there's been a mess. It's so awkward there. Kevin does magnificently to clear it off the line.
We need to stop letting Sweaty cook. And honestly, I'm happy with it because it looks awesome, but it feels like if Elevate even want a chance in this game, they need to shut this dude down 2 ways to Sunday. It has been so many late challenges and just giving him the space to get a reset, get around one player, doing enough to disrupt that midfield that we said needed to get tighter if Elevate wanted a chance. Because right now, they're not playing badly, but they still need a goal. Halfway through this game, Kevin off the ceiling, drop down, LCT interrupted, and Sphinx to try and get it back to his teammate. And not going to really do much here in the corner, and I think it's going to do much at all. Back out to midfield. It goes again.
And another one of these games that it is literally a 1-goal game. No dominating scoreline, but I wonder now if Limitless are on the point of like, well, we just need to do enough here to take it down. And that has been a factor of a feature of their play in SSA. Often, even with teams that they are dominating, they're happy with just taking it by a single goal or 2 goals. They're not necessarily a team that looks to put on these massive 5-6 goal differences.
And you don't need to. At the end of the day, if your clutch factor is what separates you from the rest of your teams, which I'd have to imagine so, considering Limitless basically never lose a grand final in their own region, yeah, I'd have to say that clutch factor could be the big difference maker here. The thing is, they still have 90 seconds to hold on, and this is probably the most offense we have seen from Elevate throughout the entire series.
Yeah, and given that it is just 1 goal and they move forward, the demo is fantastic. Sweaty somehow gets back and gets in front of the tap into the net.
Trying to get this to one of his teammates. It's still not happening, but Snowy's dropped down right into the hands of Sphinx. Drops it back center. Kevin's there and LCT. LCT opts to pop it up, but maybe should have left it to his teammate because now instead, Sweaty's been given the airspace to clear it out to midfield and even beyond. 50 seconds to go. Graybeard at this point, Apac's flight is starting to dwindle very quickly.
Yeah, but we don't forget, all the way back in game 1, there was that equalizer 9 seconds from time. So I have all the faith that Elevate can find the way and at least take this to an overtime with a late goal. And it might be here. LCT can't quite get there. Snowy gets there just in front. But they have the possession, the pressure. LCT now with another shot. It's not hard enough to really challenge. And now Limitless will be quite happy to kind of just burn off time and see out what will be, show match or not, they will be very happy with this kind of result.
They might just be able to celebrate in a couple of seconds, especially with LCT and Kevin bumping each other. A chance to keep the offense, but now they need to restart it instead, and they will not. Limitless 4-0, sweeping the APAC champions in Elevate.
And there you go. I mean, I think we were both confident of at least a game 6, probably a game 7. And wow, well, very, very well played from Limitless. That was a great performance. And you almost, man, oh man. And you sort of think back and go, geez, what could have been back at the LAN?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen this matchup back at the LAN.
Oh.
I also would have... Look, I'm going to continue to state this. I don't care if this gets me in trouble if somebody goes, we don't have that anymore. Bring back Wildcard. Wildcard is the biggest atrocity to have been brought out or to been taken out from this new RLCS season. It deserves to be its own thing. I want to see showcases of other regions that are not just NA, EU, MENA, because that's always who ends up dominating the main events, and I'd like to see other regions have a chance to actually play each other in more than just a single chance. I don't want one rep from APAC, I don't want one rep from SSA. I like that we had 2, both teams being able to try the championship and getting a chance at a larger stage. I wish we had more chances for events like this. I really do stand by it. I think Wildcard was one of the coolest things that we ever got in RLCS, and I am devastated that it has been taken away.
Well, on that topic, and I might as well get your thoughts and opinion on it, because I do look. This season has it been less than ideal, given how late the announcements were, and Blast coming on kind of last minute, and I've settled, and I'm not yet sure if it's copium or otherwise, that my feeling is this season is all about Blast figuring out how to run RLCS and get their minds around it. And so we're seeing a bit of chaos. And once we've gotten through the this first chaotic season, that we will start to see, I think they then want to build it up in a sustainable way. At least that's my hope. And I don't know what your thoughts are around it.
From what I have heard, I can say I've had some conversations with some people in the back end of things. I can confirm that is more or less what I've seen, is that it really does feel like Blast are going to be able to turn this into a tier 1 esport. Why? Because they are doing what is necessary. I know a lot of people are sitting here going, I can't believe that they are cutting X, Y, and Z, whether that be from the production side or from the actual competitive side. But the reality is that you have to think about this in terms of sustainability. And if we are an esport that was up on the rise for years on years and years, and then all of a sudden we start to have a bit of a dip, can't keep putting more effort in to try and have it rise again, to adjust. And that's what I see right now, is that I think, look, Blast is not going to be able to do everything perfectly, but really, who is going to be able to?
Yes.
Very few production teams are going to be able to take over from a historic production such as EFG, for world-class leaders in production, and then be able to take it all over and run it completely fine. Give them time. Blast are a great team. They've run some of the best events in the history of esports. Give them a year. They'll do a lot.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear you say that, and because, I mean, what I've come to understand is, regardless of where we find ourselves, I mean, when you see what's gone on, and in particular that Falcon case, K-Corp series, this esport should be tier 1. It is so good, and it is too big to kill off. It is too good to kill off. And I really do think, despite the frustrations we have, that there is intent to make this into something awesome over the next 2, 3, 4, for the long term, rather than just this season or next season.
Yeah, it very much is that, like, the goal is to have Rocket be a long-term sport. We don't care if it's popular here in the 20s. We don't care if it's popular in the 2030s. We want this to be something that can exist for decades to come, because that's what the model you want to base it off of. It's not even necessarily sports, but you look at traditional sports. Think about, like, I don't know, something, let's say Premier League, where you have these organizations that have been around for generations. Why were they there? Because they supported it from the start. If there's enough support being given here, you will see like Limitless exist for decades to come. See Elevate exist for decades to come. Maybe not with the same players, but with the same organization, the same support. And that's what I want to see. We all know Rocket League has the ability to last forever. There's no
Yes.
other car soccer game on the planet that has this. Just gotta wait. Be patient.
Yeah, and we want to see the crazy scenarios of one day Squishy Muffins and Vatira's kids competing against each other.
I hope so. I hope we get. Look, we've already had twins and we've had brothers competing in RLCS together. I'm ready to get more.
All right, cool. Well, listen, Bass, thank you very much for jumping in here and coming to cast with it, and thank you for all the work you did in supporting APAC. You know, these minor regions need enthusiastic voices to keep pushing them forward and growing them. So I hope you will carry on and do more. And yeah, and I'll carry on here with SSA and we'll go from strength to strength. But as Stumpy pointed out, we are seeing improvement from both of these regions, event by event. And now with, you know, at least major spots there, we will hopefully see a lot more of it. So yeah, thanks to everybody for joining us. And I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. And I know a shit ton of people have followed while all of this was going on. Thank you very much. Great to have you aboard. I hope we'll see a lot more of you. But in the meantime, from myself and Bass, thank you very much. And that's gonna wrap it up. Peace. We are out.